I am still a new fan to the Yakuza series, and so far, from what I have experienced and played, from the different stories to the gameplay, elements and styles, so far, to me, this has been the very best of what the series has to offer. Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, Hazuki Warrior 921 here, and I have a lot to say about Yakuza Kiwami 2. In case if you have not watched my Yakuza 0 or Yakuza Kiwami reviews, this is my third Yakuza game story that I have played through and finished after following through 0 and Kiwami 1. So far, I think this series is pretty great, and it's definitely one that people should not overlook. So, in the meantime, please sit back, relax, and enjoy my review of Yakuza Kiwami 2. First, I'll cover the story. And yes, there will be spoilers involved. So, if you want to play these games for yourself, I recommend playing them in time and order on PlayStation 4, starting with Yakuza 0. If you've played 0 and Kiwami 1 and 2 through, all the way to the finish to the end of the story of the last chapter of each game, then stick around to hear what happens. Each game's storyline connects in some way, so it is recommended to know the story before continuing with my video. That being said, this is the sort of abridged version of the story of Yakuza Kiwami 2. Here we go, let's get right into it. Taking place a year after the first game, both Yakuza and Yakuza Kiwami, the Dragon of Dojima, as expected, finds himself in yet another precarious situation involving the schemes of the Tojo clan. Since the passing of Akira Nishikiyama at the end of the first game, the Tojo clan has been slowly falling apart, internal power struggles running riot. This inevitably leads to conflict with Asoko's Ami Alliance, which happens to be backing the late Nishikiyama. Kiryu must travel to Sotenbori, Osaka, in an attempt to break peace between the rival clans. However, Ryuji Goda, known as the Dragon of Kansai, will stop at nothing to get his war. In this world, there can only be one dragon. Also, between the war of the Tojo clan and the Omi Lands, there's also a third faction involved, the Jinguian Mafia. They're basically the scummiest of the scum in the Yakuza game universe, and I'll touch a bit more on them as I continue to go over the story. Yakuza Kiwami 2 also does a really great job at introducing to us three new, really great characters: Daigo Dojima, Karu Sayama, and as mentioned earlier, Ryuji Goda. Daigo Dojima actually runs into Kiryu first, and he accompanies Kiryu to Osaka to settle score with Goda. Goda actually sent Daigo to prison 5 years ago as part of a setup. He also gets kidnapped by his clan as well. After that experience, he then takes on a leadership role and brings the fragments of the Tojo clan together to lead them into Kamurocho to stop the Jinguian Mafia from destroying the city. I personally really like Daigo. Sort of. I mean, look at him. He has a lot of potential to be a cool character. I like his design a lot, I like his appearance for sure. There's times where it looks like he's about to kick some ass. I mean, there's even a point in the game where he challenges Kiryu to a fight when the two first meet. Also, I forgot to mention this, and this is true for Goda as well, he actually makes a slight cameo appearance in Yakuza 0. However, he just sort of comes off as a real pussy. I wish that he wasn't, but that's really just how he is. He's just really weak. He looks like he's about to kick some ass, but whenever there's a moment like that, the dude quickly falls on his face. I mean, he gets kidnapped for crying out loud by his own clan. Like, sheesh, I don't know, I just hope that he has more cooler moments in the later Yakuza games. I know he's also in the 5th one. Like, he just has some really lame moments in this game, is all I'm saying. Next, I'd really like to talk about Karu Sayama. I really like her, just as a character, like just how she is. She is the lead detective of the Osakan Police Department and has been assigned to place our main hero under arrest, Kiryu. For what charges? Well, for basically being a Yakuza member in the Tojo clan. Sort of. She's more so assigned to follow the Tojo clan's activities during the war between the two alliances. Her and Kiryu actually end up forming a friendship, and eventually, over time, she ends up falling for him, and they have a pretty deep relationship too. Part of the reasons or so being is that he sticks his neck out for her quite a bit, and she does the very same for him as well. Also, their pasts are kind of similar. They both lost people who were really close to them, and they both never got to really know their true parents. Except for Sayama, she does get to find out who that is later on. Practically in her whole life, she was raised by one woman and has been trying to hunt down mysteries of who her family is. She is also warned or informed that she should not dig into her past of who her family may be. It turns out that her mother was actually part genuine, and her brother is as well. However, her father is not a genuine. A hard-boiled veteran detective who is also known as a Killer Kawara turns out to be Sayama's father this whole time. His name is Judo Kawara, and he has been trying to protect Sayama from the truth for the entire game pretty much. However, once she knows the truth, she is thankful for him for telling her right before his passing. She also finds out that her older half-brother is Ryuji Goda. Bum bum bum, that's right, the main kind of villain is her brother. I absolutely loved Ryuji Goda. This whole game is sort of about him, more so towards the last moments of the game's story. It's actually really about him and Sayama, and obviously a little bit about Kiryu too. Though Kiryu himself doesn't change too much as a character in this game, these two siblings most certainly do, especially at the point when Sayama tells Goda who she really is. Guys, I'm telling you, there's some real tear-jerking stuff at the end of both Kiwami 1 and 2, but there's just something about Kiwami 2's story that just has me personally like it quite a bit more. And I think that a big part of that something has to do with Ryuji Goda. He's not quite technically a villain or a bad guy, but at the same time, he kind of is. He does sort of bad things. Like, I believe he plants bombs and other things, and he's telling Kiryu that, like, there can't be two dragons, that he's gonna, only one of them has to go. But he's very noble for who he is. He has a really, strong belief about, being a man, and, how, there's a point in the game where Haruka gets kidnapped by, I think, somebody who works with his clan, with Ryuji Goda's clan, and he kills the guy for kidnapping her. He tells her that's so disgraceful, and then he gives her back to Kiryu. He just has his moments. He and Kiryu are both the dragon of Kamurocho, and they cannot both exist at the same time. Why is that? They just can't. The game kind of goes into it, because they're both Yakuza, they both bear the dragon, but there can only be one within the clan, I believe, or within, the Yakuza family. So, they both agreed to it, and they had to take each other down. That's just the way they are. And it's really sad when Sayama tells Goda that she's his sister, and he's like, oh my god, I got a kid sister now. And then he's like, well, I'm about to, basically take my life. And it's really sad for her, because she doesn't see more people she cares about dies. It's a really sad scene. Damn. Ryuji also proves to be selfless, as he doesn't hesitate to take bullets to protect his half-sister and Kiryu. He is self-aware of his flaws, notably his tendency to be impulsive, and considers that a real man sometimes has to act before they think, acknowledging that he always believed he'd die young. Yes, like I mentioned before, unfortunately, this game is the only story that really has him in it. Canonically, that is. He has appeared in other Yakuza spin-off titles as projects as well, but he is dead from here on out. He was a good kid while it lasted, a little hot-headed and reckless, but also very noble, strong, and brave for who he was. At one point, Kiryu even tells Goda that he even reminds him of an old friend that he had. I like to believe that he was talking about Nishiki in that moment. It has to be. They actually are kind of similar, Nishiki and Goda, when you get right down to it. Goda has actually met Majima in the past as well, though I doubt that he remembers Majima. The Omi Alliance actually conducts a meeting with him at one point, and it's hinted that Majima does indeed recognize Goda, making a reference to his sub-story in Yakuza 0. Speaking of Majima, he actually has his own side arc in this game, finally having closure with someone very special to him from Yakuza 0, Makoto. Oh yes. I don't remember if I mentioned her or not in my Yakuza 0 review, but she is a very important character in that game, in Yakuza 0. That game is actually kind of all about her. It's all about, she's kind of like the center of the whole story. And I like to think she's the center of the story of Yakuza 0. Haruka is the center of the story of Yakuza Kiwami, or Yakuza 1. And I believe Goda is actually the center of the story of this game. It kind of is him. Like I said, it's kind of about him. Yakuza Kiwami 2 has a Goro Majima side story attached to it as unlockable. It's just a 3-chapter mini-story, but I thought that it would be a part of the main game, just like Yakuza 0 was, when I first played it. You unlock each chapter as you play through the main story as Kiryu. The events that take place, I believe, happen before Majima even shows up in the game's main story. Plus, he's a construction worker now with his own theme song. Yay, go Majima! Majima's story starts with Tereda, when he basically first starts off as the 5th chairman of the Tojo clan. Taking place in February 2006, he announces that he will recruit new blood to rebuild the Tojo clan after the 10 billion yen incident which took place in Yakuza Kiwami 1. In order to fill the vacant position of clan captain, Tereda rules that the partition deemed to have contributed to most of the Tojo clan financially will be appointed as the clan captain. 2 individuals are gunning for the position, Akinobu Uemitsu and Goro Majima. A lot of crazy stuff happens after this moment, but throughout his journey, he once again runs into someone that he fell in love with long ago, back in Yakuza 0, Makoto. And, sort of opposite of what Kiryu wants for his life, Majima decides it best to not be involved in her life if he can help it. Reason being is that it would be far too dangerous for her. Besides, we find out that she is happily married to someone else and has even had a growing child with him. He never tells her who he really is, Majima doesn't, or if he knew her from the past, but instead shows her in a very special, unique, and sort of sad way. People, moments like these, emotional moments like these, is what makes the Yakuza series so damn good, and why I'm pleading to you to play these games in these videos on PS4. Whether it being the moment when Nishiki tried to shoot Kiryu for his own good in Yakuza 0, or even when he went out with a bang at the end of Yakuza Kiwami 1, or hell, even this game's emotional finale is something, with what happens between Kiryu, Ryuji, and Sayama. These games are full of hardships, and just, damn, like seriously, basically, after playing through 3 of these games, Yakuza's theme seems to be, no matter how hard life may get, and no matter how it may seem, keep moving forward, no matter what. Okay, now I wanted to finally talk about the gameplay. This is the best Yakuza experience in terms of gameplay that I have ever had so far. See, the game runs so beautifully with the new Dragon engine that I believe has been introduced ever since Yakuza 6. It came out right after Yakuza 0 Japan sometime in 2016. So far, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, Yakuza Kiwami 2, and Judgment have used this engine. I believe that Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, obviously will as well. The game plays so fluidly that you can immediately both spot/feel the difference compared to the series' previous installments. I mentioned this back in my Yakuza Kiwami review as well, of how important this new engine is. And now that I'm seeing that the studio is continuing to use it with future installments, I have no issues with the Yakuza Remastered Collection. See, okay, basically Sega, they're porting Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 in one collection set on a PS4 physically. And I'm really happy /excited for this because, well, I'll be able to just play through the Yakuza saga this way instead of having to wait for remakes. Which originally, in my Yakuza Kiwami 1 review, I was angry and frustrated that Sega wasn't going to remake Yakuza 3, but because I wanted them to use the Dragon engine for those games. But they are using the Dragon engine for Yakuza 7, 6, and Judgment, and they're going to continue using it for other games too. So, again, I've only played Yakuza 0, 1, and 2 stories. Originally, I was going to play the original Yakuza games as well on PS2 and PS3, but now I'm just sticking to whatever comes out on PS4 and moving forward from there onto the PS5 and so on and so forth. Yes, like I said before, I was very upset, but now I have no issues with this whatsoever with Sega and the Ryugo Goatsu, I think it's called, staff. The Like a Dragon staff, the people who make Yakuza, have moving forward. Alright, this pretty much wraps up my review of Yakuza Kiwami 2. I loved every moment of it, including what I did in the sub-stories too. Eventually, I do want to go more in depth of how I personally felt when I first experienced played each game. Maybe, just maybe, one day I might consider possibly doing a Let's Play of the Yakuza series on PS4. I don't know yet. I can never get too comfortable with doing a Let's Play series. It's just because it's just not a very comfortable format for me to do. I just don't know what to talk about when I do them, especially if it's like live. Like I prefer recording a video than talking over it later. But for this series, I might actually still do that. I don't know. It depends on what the future holds for me. I'll think about it. However, with my new YouTube series of the Where to Start series, I just started with Metal Gear Solid, and well, I'm gonna do Zelda next and other games too and stories. I will eventually do an episode on Yakuza, and when I do, I will most definitely go more in depth on how I feel on certain characters, along with certain character events on where I have played the game, such what I have experienced so far, and just story events in general too. So for now, I'm signing off, guys. If I'm able to manage this possibility, this video is actually uploaded on the day that the Yakuza Remastered Collection is out here in North America. Well, all 3 games so far, and physically too, because they originally released Yakuza 3 and 4 in October, and I think 4 was released in December? I can't remember, or November even, but now they're releasing all 3 of them together physically on February 11th, 2020. So if this is uploaded that day, have fun watching this and playing Yakuza 3 right after. So, for now, I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the tale of Kazuma Kiryu. I have 4 games to play through till I get to the end. See you guys in my Yakuza 3 review. Have a good one, everyone, and thank you for watching my review video.